All right, let's jump right in. You've probably been hearing the term vector database thrown around a lot lately, especially with all the AI stuff happening. But what is it, really? Well, to get our heads around it, let's start with something super simple, a digital photograph. You know, when you and I look at a picture of a mountain sunset, we instantly get it. We get the vibe. It feels peaceful, maybe a little majestic. But for a computer, it's a whole different ballgame. How does a machine actually grasp the meaning behind all those pixels? And this is where you can really see that difference in action. A computer, traditionally, just stores the basic metadata, the file name, the date it was created, maybe some tags someone manually typed in, like sunset or orange. But a human, we understand the feeling, the context. We know it's similar to a cozy beach sunset, even though it's a completely different place. You couldn't ask an old-school database to find images with a peaceful vibe because it has no idea what peaceful even means. And it turns out, this exact problem has a name. It's called the semantic gap. It's this fundamental disconnect between the literal, structured way computers store data and the nuanced, context-driven way we humans get it. Traditional databases just weren't built to cross that bridge. So how do we fix this? Well, that's where a whole new approach comes into play. We need a completely different kind of database, one that's built from the ground up to organize data not by boring tags, but by its actual deep-down meaning. And this right here is the core idea. Instead of relying on someone to tag that photo, vector databases convert the data, the image itself, into a long string of numbers. This is called a vector embedding. Think of it like a unique numerical fingerprint that perfectly captures the essence of that photo. And get this technique isn't just for pictures. The really cool part is that you can create an embedding for almost any kind of messy, unstructured data. We're talking entire text documents, audio clips, you name it. We can turn it all into these rich mathematical representations. Okay, so we're turning all our stuff into numbers. That's cool, but how in the world does a string of numbers capture meaning? Let's dig into how these vector embeddings actually work their magic. So, here's the crucial thing to understand. A vector embedding is just an array of numbers, but it's a very special one. Each number represents some abstract feature, and the whole thing acts like a set of coordinates. These coordinates place our piece of data on this huge, multi-dimensional map of meaning. We call this map vector space, and on it, things with similar meanings naturally end up right next to each other. Let's look at a super simple three-dimensional example to make this real. For our mountain sunset photo, the dimension we're calling elevation might have a really high value, like 0.91. Makes sense, right? Now, for a beach sunset, that same dimension would be super low, maybe 0.12. But now, check out the warm colors dimension. They're both high, 0.83 and 0.89. Why? Because they're both sunsets. The numbers themselves capture these features, and because their values are close, a computer can finally understand that these two very different pictures are actually related. Now, I gotta say, this is obviously a super simplified example. In the real world, these vector embeddings don't just have 3 dimensions. They have hundreds, sometimes even thousands. And this lets them capture incredibly subtle and nuanced relationships between things that you and I could never dream of defining with simple tags. So, this all feels kind of like magic, doesn't it? An array of numbers that just knows what a picture is all about. So the big question is, where do these numbers actually come from? Well, they're created by these really specialized AI models called, you guessed it, embedding models. It's a pretty straightforward process. You take your data, an image, a chunk of text, and you feed it into one of these models. The model, which has been trained on just astronomical amounts of data, processes it, pulls out all these abstract features, and then spits out that powerful vector embedding at the end. And of course, you're not going to use the same model for everything. There are specific models that are experts in different types of data. For instance, you might use a model like Clip for images, or something like Glove for text, or even Wave2Vec for audio files. Each one is finely tuned to understand the unique patterns of its own data type. All right, so we've got our vector embeddings, which is awesome. But this actually creates a whole new challenge. How do you efficiently search through millions or maybe even billions of these super complex, high-dimensional vectors? I mean, think about it. If you had a search query and you had to mathematically compare it to every single other vector in your database one by one, that would be incredibly, painfully slow. It just doesn't scale. We need a way to find the closest matches almost instantly. The solution, and this is really the secret sauce of a good vector database, is a process called vector indexing. It uses these really clever algorithms called approximate nearest neighbor, or ANN. Here's the trick. Instead of looking for the one single, mathematically perfect match, ANN algorithms take a shortcut to find good enough matches that are almost certainly what you're looking for, and they do it at lightning speed. Now, there are a few established ways to do this. For example, a method like HSNW basically builds a multi-layered highway system through your data, letting you quickly navigate to the right neighborhood of vectors. Another one, IVF, works by first sorting all the vectors into different clusters or neighborhoods and then only searching inside the most relevant ones. The main takeaway here is that they all trade a tiny, usually unnoticeable bit of perfect accuracy for a huge, game-changing gain in speed. Okay, so we've covered the what and the how. Now for the big one. Why does any of this matter? This technology, turning data into meaningful embeddings and searching them instantly, isn't just a neat computer science project. It is the engine behind some of the most powerful AI tools we're all starting to use every single day. One of the absolute killer applications for this is something called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. This is a technique that makes large language models, the brains behind chatbots, way smarter and more up-to-date. It uses a vector database to find and feed the model relevant, timely info that it wasn't originally trained on. Here's how it plays out. You ask a chatbot a question. The system instantly turns your question into a vector and shoots it over to the vector database to find the most similar documents or pieces of information. It then grabs that retrieved info and gives it to the large language model as extra context. With that context in hand, the LLM can generate a much more accurate, relevant, and well-informed answer. It's that simple. So when you think about it, we've gone from a computer seeing just a file name to a machine that can actually understand the vibe of a sunset. We've finally started to bridge that semantic gap by organizing information based on what it actually means, not just what we label it. We have fundamentally changed what's possible. And that really makes you wonder, what incredible new doors is this going to unlock next?
Thank you. Share and subscribe to Learn AI for more AI insights.